Merry late Christmas, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed your holidays, got some good presents. This will actually be probably my last video of the year, so I thought I'd end off with a pretty decent one. Anyways, on to today's video. So about a week or two ago, I made a video critiquing one of the many points of SK's Spider-Man PS4 video, most notably about Spider-Man fixing up police towers, with him making the claim that Peter had modified them to give the police a wider range of access to tracking more than just crimes. Meanwhile, I pointed out that that can't be the case, because if it were, we'd be hearing a lot more about it. So the reasonable conclusion is that only Peter has access to those modifications. What do you think SK's reaction to my video was? Was it A, conceded with a hey, you make a pretty good point, B, respectfully disagrees with extra points explaining why he's actually right, or C, make a really bad response and show what he thought would have proven his point, but actually reaffirms mine? I'll just sit here for a few seconds and let you decide in the comments. If you thought it was A or B, while I commend you for giving people the benefit of the doubt like I do, I hate to burst your bubble, but you were wrong! He made a response video. He made a response during a live stream, and the arguments he and his friends present just, they aren't very good. I would just react to it, but the points he and his friends bring up in the stream are just the ones he and his friends brought up on Twitter. I do want to get out of the way that somehow the biggest criticism I'm seeing is regarding the title in general, saying, "Oh, you're trying to criticize him for thinking about the story and its implications." No? Where are people getting this from? I wasn't criticizing for thinking about it in general. I was just pointing out that when you overthink something, it can blind you to the answer that's right in front of you. SK even knows this is the case because he points it out to somebody who was commenting on it. Well, it seemed more so trying to argue that there's a simple answer, and that thinking too hard makes me overlook it. But the answer given doesn't add up.
Are you sure about that?
Well, that's very presumptuous of you. Let's see what you guys bring to the table, shall we?
I would like to see
your arguments. Chronos says he might have had a point, was it not for a side mission in which one of the police technicians in charge of the towers says that Spidey was piggybacking off of their system, which means the RFID tracking is obviously on their end.
Are you sure about—
What's funny is that this doesn't actually disprove my points. Let's go back to the Minecraft server analogy, since you guys seem to be a big fan of that one. If someone joins your server and they have mods on, you will not be able to see what mods they have. Just because the police know that Spider-Man is using their towers to track crime along with them, does not mean they can see what he sees after reactivating the towers. Hell, it's the same when somebody freeloads off your Wi-Fi and uses it. You won't be able to see what the fuck they're doing on it, just that they're using it. SK then goes on to say, and he says verbatim that the towers are being modified, not the system in his mask. And we physically see him change the tower, not the stuff in his mask. Yeah, there's a funny thing about that statement. Remember during the opening of the game where Peter's phone goes off and...
All units, level 4 mobilization. Location, Fisk Tower.
Fisk?
His phone is what tracks the police broadcasts connected to the towers. The very same phone he uses to sync back up to the towers and uses to make the modifications with. You know what that phone is connected to? Bingo! The interface within his mask. Also about the whole we can see him physically change the tower thing. Are you talking about the animation that happens when the tower goes back online? I really hope that's not what you're talking about. Now, I was originally going to put my reaction to his reaction, but as I mentioned before, it's during a live stream in a Discord call, and while I was watching, I kept thinking of way too many objection memes, and would have been repeating myself from the intro. One point that stood out to me is how they try to say that Yuri not telling Spider-Man that they can see the modifications he made is somehow bad world building.
Idiots!
I think the literary world calls that show don't tell. They do point out a side mission that's supposedly about a maintenance worker knowing about the modifications. I didn't know this side mission existed, and I haven't been able to play the game in a while because my laptop can't handle the game anymore. So, let's take a look at that.
Look, I know you've been hacking into our crime system towers.
Wasn't me. I mean, what towers?
It's funny because they somehow thought this was the gotcha moment, when it actually just reaffirms my point. Notice how the maintenance worker never said, I know you modified the towers. It's, I know you hacked into the towers.
Look, I know you've been hacking into our crime system towers.
And notice how scared shitless Peter gets because he believes the maintenance worker might actually see the modifications he made.
Wasn't me. I mean, what towers?
Now notice how he calms down once he realizes that the maintenance worker can't see the modifications he made.
I don't mind. In fact, I need your help. I think someone's jamming the system, and they must be using multiple jammers to cover the full frequency range. Could you take a look? If you help, I promise I won't tell anyone you're hacking us.
I prefer to call it sharing, but...
And once everything is said and done and the towers aren't being jammed again, this is the final exchange between Spider-Man and the maintenance worker.
Looks like New York's finest have it from here.
Everything's clear on my end, too. Thanks for restoring the system, Spider-Man. I won't tell anyone you're piggybacking on it, but if you get caught, you're on your own.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to delete my selfies from the crime system servers.
Do you notice something? Throughout the entire exchange, the maintenance worker mentions absolutely nothing about the modifications Peter made, only that she knows he's been piggybacking off their system. Gee, I wonder why that could be. Well, Arachnid, it's because it's bad world building, you see. It's just lazy run- Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Shut the fuck up! Stop fucking crying!
Once again, back to my Wi-Fi analogy. If somebody freeloads off your Wi-Fi and uses it, you will not be able to see what they're doing on it. You just know that they're using it. Case in point, the fucking towers. Just because the maintenance worker notices that Spider-Man's hacked into their system does not mean she can see the fucking modifications he made, or else she'd say something about it. Especially considering Peter would have most likely encrypted his side of things so they wouldn't be able to figure it out. Oh, by the way, I noticed you skipped over that part where I mentioned how Peter is extremely tech savvy in this game. Very curious. I wonder why you skipped over that part of my argument. I wonder why. Maybe it's because it pokes extremely glaring flaws in yours. Holy fuck, why did you ever think this would actually prove your argument? But back to my original point as to why I say SK is thinking too much about it. In my college class, my professor would talk to us and throw nuggets of wisdom our way that would help us in the long run. On the topic of writing an argument, one student would always ask a bunch of unnecessary questions where the teacher would just shut him down and say, your answer is right there, but you are thinking too much about it, and as a result, you are missing the answer. As a result of SK overthinking the surveillance tower, he has completely missed and overlooked the obvious answer. Even when presented with said obvious answer, he refuses to entertain it because the answer is just so fucking obvious, it can't be the case. This is going to be my last video on it because I have other projects I'm working on, and if you haven't noticed, the gameplay footage in the background is from TASM 2 Mobile. Yeah, you guessed it. I got the game to work, and I'm currently writing a review for it as we speak. Yes, I'm a little disappointed we didn't hit the 3,000 sub goal I wanted us to, but hey, no big deal. With the way the channel's been growing lately, I might hit 3,000 by the time January ends. So I might actually do a live stream for New Year's. Might sing us into the new year, I don't know. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. See ya!